Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Behind the Blind. This is your host Nadir.
And Yadira.
And Yadira, still on location.
Yep.
Location.
But this time we're inside, so no bugs to scare me.
No bugs. No, we're inside. Which is, I was actually just mentioning to you that this place seems a little more echoey than outside was.
Yeah, it does. So
but, hey,
we'll make it work, inshallah.
the beauty of dynamic microphones.
Right.
You know, it makes it sound so much better.
Alhamdulillah.
All right. So where were we, Yadira?
So we had come to the point where I was discussing a little bit of my personal life. I didn't go into as much detail. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was expected or maybe I should have, but I just went where I was comfortable. So we had talked about my grandmother's mental illness, a lot of the difficulties I faced, I vaguely covered the abuse. I did mention that was a thing. I did mention how my grandmother learned how to read Braille by sight so that she could help me with my classes to do my first communion as a Catholic.
Yep.
I had gone to the point where in high school, my grandmother had set the house aflame. Not the whole house, but she had left the stove. And
she made an oil fire in the kitchen.
She did. And I think I even struggle with saying that because it's still something that even though it happened about 20 years, almost 20 years ago. No, about 20 years ago, actually.
Yep. It's still hard to talk about,
it's
right?
still very, very difficult to talk about that.
Yeah.
And I faced a lot of things that are really difficult to still talk about. I think personally I have healed well, but it's not something that I like to draw a lot of focus on. I rather focus on things that make me feel more secure and more at peace because those scars still stay with you. And so I don't dwell too much on them. I forgot to mention in the last episode that by this point I had already done my confirmation. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, confirmation in the Catholic Church is you literally confirming that you want to be Catholic for the rest. That's it. You're making the adult choice to be Catholic for the rest of your life. That's it. That's your sacrament. Yeah.
You know, you're an adult enough to commit to this religious obligation.
Right. And you know, people might find that a little strange, but there are people who take their shahada in their teens. So
very true. You
know what I mean? I'm not here to sort of, I guess, pass judgment or whatever. I'm just telling you my story. And I don't believe in those things, but, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Of course. So
people, in your teens, you're kind of expected to have that. Some adults they don't do it until they're adults and they kind of combine the two sacraments of marriage and confirmation at the same time. But I didn't. And so I confirmed at around 17. I think I was still 16.
Okay.
It was like in April or something like that before I turned 17. So like the month before I turned 17. And I had confirmed and so now we fast forward to my, senior year and we're dealing with all these things. My crazy graduation with a hailstorm. I don't remember if I discussed that, but I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And
you all had to rush in.
Yeah. That's right, because we talked about you not doing project or anything that was like project graduation.
People's caps got lost
and
destroyed and stuff.
So I discussed a lot of those things in other episodes too, like the guide dog training that I really wanted to do and being denied access to the guide dog school when I was 16 because
you could still hear the nature sounds
in the background, right? You just heard the cicada.
Thing is, you don't hear it usually because of the air condition.
Yeah.
But because we turned it off to get the best sound, you could still hear it.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah. So
I had been denied.
And the creakiness of this cottage.
Yeah. It's a cottage. So
it's a cottage.
That rustic
it's a lot of wood.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice. Rustic, very nice. Love it to death. Maybe not the best podcast studio, but very nice. Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, we make it work.
We make it work. Yeah, it's fine. I've heard way worse. Way worse. So,
but inshallah. No, so I had been denied, and that also had to do with my grandmother not wanting to having to let me use the cane as a mode of a tool to travel independently.
Yep.
And so because I wasn't allowed to do that, I also wasn't allowed to travel independently. I think part of it had to do with my blindness, but I think also it had to do a lot with how she was, where we weren't allowed to go out on our own. And I think that might be a cultural thing too. And I think it's a thing for your culture as well. Teenagers, especially girls, you don't go anywhere by yourself. You don't do anything on your own.
I mean, technically, you should have a mahram with you, right?
Right.
I mean, let's be real here.
This is not a criticism on that. The criticism was that she should have let me use the cane. And even when I was traveling with people, I should have.
You should have been able to do this independently.
And I should have been able to have those skills so that when I did want to get my guide dog, that I should have been able to pass. But in any case, that didn't happen. And I think I went over all of that in the guide dog episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go too much in detail with that. But that was something that happened. And now we're fast forwarding to pretty much graduation day after my friend had passed away after the fire. Those two events I was 17 when they happened. And then at that point, a lot of things changed in my mind. It was like so many things that happened to me in my life. Awful things, really. Mm-hmm. And this isn't to say that I'm complaining. Allah has his plan and Allah's the best of planners. But there were things that, are horrible, quite frankly.
So, all right. So we've been through a lot.
Yeah.
So let's go to
when
you took your shahada.
Yeah. I talked about meeting you. I talked about all of that. I'm kind of doing just a recap or whatever.
Yep.
So then after I had, I discussed.
Go back and listen to the other episodes if you don't know.
Yeah, just kind of to catch up and stuff. So at this point, I had told you I wanted to convert.
Sure.
And we're back forward here.
Previously on Yadira's life.
I had almost died already,
Yep.
with my
surgery.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, there was another time I almost died. And
oh, wait, there was one other time. That's right.
Did I talk about the antibiotic?
I think you did.
Right? That was that time, too. That was when I was like 19 or something like that. Around that same time. There was a lot of brushes with...
Well, a lot of brushes with death.
Yeah.
Allah was like, yo, straighten up. Straighten up quick.
So I had decided that this is what I wanted to do, that I really did want to become Muslim. At some point in the back of my head, or in a really small voice, there was like, oh, but you did your confirmation. So, but I was like, I don't think that's going to be withstanding. I think once you become Muslim, and I think I asked you that too, like what happens to all of that. And that's when you had explained you get a clean slate when you take your shahada. It's all erased. So I was like,
it's all gone. Yep.
So, but the crazy thing is that in the Catholic Church, they keep these records. And so if you were to look it all up, you'd find that still because they keep records.
That's good for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't bear on you.
No. So
you can't go to Mecca because we got a Catholic record. Man, get out of here.
Yeah. It doesn't hold.
No.
But just an interesting thought. But anyway, so I had spent some time learning and asking questions, and there wasn't really anything too much eventful besides I think I had already explained that I had told my grandmother I went through that, that I didn't believe in Christianity anymore.
Yeah.
And at that point, I hadn't made my mind up. This was a few months before I told you. So I had went through all that. So I was basically, my family was sort of not acknowledging anything. And I really wasn't letting them know that I was studying and things like that. I had already said I didn't believe in all that Christianity and whatnot.
Yep.
But it was something that sort of just fell to the wayside for them.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it didn't, obviously.
Obviously, yes.
And then I remember it took me about a year before I took my shahada, and from when I told you, maybe a little bit over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a little after deciding that I wanted to be Muslim, I fasted in Ramadan before taking my shahada. I wanted to see what it was like, and I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that it was just such an odd thing because I was trying not to let anyone know that I was fasting because I didn't know the approach, that they were going to take to that. And then at some point they kind of noticed, and it was this not outright reprimanding, but that's almost silent treatment or that unspoken, you've made me unhappy type of tension. Mm-hmm. And a couple months passed by because I think that was during a winter. That was like when Ramadan was like in December, November or something like that.
Yeah.
And so a few months passed by, and almost a year from that, that's when I decided, this is after the surgeries and after, the first surgery and after the antibiotic scare. And then it was raining, but you happened to be in town because your school was nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm ready to go to do this. And you said, okay, well, I'll go with you. I'll take you to the masjid. And the masjid was very close to my house.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner. And we walked, and it was like drizzling. And I went, and we told them that I wanted to take my shahada. And there was a sister there, and she took me to a separate room, and I repeated her, and I took my shahada. And unfortunately, there wasn't this big like wow moment because she was, I think, more emotional than I was. She was. She was crying and stuff, and I kind of was just sitting there like, all right, I did this, but now I have to go face mom, and I have no idea how I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you were more nervous about that.
I was Nervous is an understatement. I
Like
was
taking
terrified.
your shahada was like, okay, this is just normal.
Right.
Right?
It wasn't.
It's like,
there wasn't anything, and I kind of feel
there
sad
wasn't-
about
you-
that. There wasn't anything impactful for me.
I mean, I guess I see it because the fear kind of took over
It did.
everything else,
And
right?
the thing is, where you see all these videos where they put like so and so took shahada or shahada this time, whatever, and everybody's kind of emotional, and I didn't experience any of that. I was terrified.
You didn't have time to experience all that.
I took my shahada and I was like, okay, it's done, and now I'm terrified. Like I remember my hands were literally shaking because I'm all or nothing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I took shahada and then that was it. No, I was in hijab. Like I took shahada and I put on the hijab right away, like immediately, and that was it. Like I went to the masjid wearing it, and that was it. But that's just a personality I have. I had made a decision that I was going to do that. I think in retrospect, I don't know how I feel about that decision. I don't regret it, but I was all in. You know what I mean? And I think in hindsight, maybe I should have not been all in because I had to deal with so much from my family. But then in retrospect, it's like, whatever, inshallah, I get the reward for it. Like, I don't regret.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't regret my decision to be hijabi from the start.
Yeah.
And the way that I am, if I make a commitment to something, I'm going to see it through. So even on times where things might get difficult, you know, because your man goes up and down, it's never crossed my mind to just take it off. I can't because I've committed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Even when I'm melting in the Texas heat, like, oh my God, just don't talk to me right now.
That Texas heat is serious too.
Right. And
That's serious heat right there.
and so even in those moments where I'm just like, I really don't want to be here because I'm so hot. And I'm just in a bad mood and everyone's staring at me because my dog, and I'm quite frankly just in a horrible mood. It's not even a question whether I'm going to keep it on or not. It's just part of me. So I don't regret that decision, but I do know that there was a lot of backlash, and I came home. My grandmother lost it, and she started yelling at me. I can't even remember everything she said, but there was a lot of insults being hurled at me. And at one point, I turned around and just walked away from her because she was getting very close to physically attacking me.
Yeah.
So I got out of her way, but not quite in time because she was able to grab the back of the scarf. And the way that I had the scarf set, it was a 2-piece thing, and she couldn't rip it off, which was her goal because she yanked it hard. So when she yanked it back, she yanked my head back, and then my neck like whipped back, and the scarf like pulled up on my throat like really hard.
Imagine her doing that to a nun.
And
Right? I mean, this is the hypocrisy, isn't it?
yeah,
Is it that blatant, like, freaking hypocrisy, though?
I think it was. I don't know.
Like, I mean, think about it. I mean, you're going to talk about it, but you got a lot of crap about covering up and all this stuff.
I think
But a nun is respected. They're Catholic.
you take it so personally.
Look, it's so stupid.
Like you're more upset.
They're so freaking dumb, bro. Wallah al-Azim, man. They are so... It's like, I can't believe you're wearing this. This is oppressive. Oh my God, sister, come here. Sister Mary...
Whatever.
Beatrice.
Listen, I think you're more... I think you're more upset than I am.
Because it's so...
That
man.
story.
It's so... They're such freaking hypocrites. They're such hypocrites.
So...
This is in general. I'm not just talking about your family. I'm saying in general. Anyone that freaks out whenever a girl in their family becomes a Muslim and she starts wearing a headscarf, and especially if you're Catholic, bro, come on. Just stop with the hypocrisy, please.
So, she did that, and I was able to rip her hand, like I yanked myself and I pulled her arm off of her hand off the scarf, and I ran down the stairs and I left. As she's coming after me, because she didn't stop there. She ran down the stairs after me, but I got out of the house quick enough. My grandmother wasn't one to make scenes outside.
Yeah.
So once I got out of the house, I was able to get away from her. You know what I mean? And then we walked. I walked to my mother's house, which is a decent couple blocks, and it was raining much harder by this point.
Yeah.
And I show up at her house, and she opens the door, and her first words were, "What did she do? What did she do to you?" I didn't have to say anything because, again, mom being mom was the norm. And so the first words out of her mouth, when I show up crying wet from the rain,
yep,
is, "What did she do to you?" There's no other explanation but mom did something. That was kind of what it was. And the crazy part that is no one knew of what it was like. And till this day, my family will not acknowledge that, it's always one, every parent makes mistakes. And so I explained to her what happened. I stayed with my mom a few days, and my grandmother, oh God, I got so many calls from different family members, yelling at me, insulting me. At one point, they said my grandmother had a minor heart attack.
They just gave you
till this day. I don't know if that's
one
true
thing
or not.
after another, just a bunch of garbage.
And I got the threat: if something happens to mom because of you, you're gonna get it.
Yep.
You can guarantee that. And at one point, I just stopped answering the calls because it was too much. It was too much. And so then it was the voicemails. They would just leave voicemails and I would just delete them. I didn't, to this day, I don't know what they were because I couldn't take it. Like the mental toll that it was taking was too much. And this was all in a matter of like 4 days, by the way, because I only stayed at my mom's house for like 4 days because then my grandmother regretted it and she was crying hysterically and she called my mother begging her to bring me back home. And my mother was like, nope, because if you're going to mistreat her, I get it that you raised her, but I'm not going to let you do that. So you have to promise that you are not going to do that because if you are, I'm going to help her leave and you're never going to see her again because I'm not going to put up with that. So of course my grandmother promised and they brought me back home.
Yep.
And I just stood there. I wasn't emotional or nothing. I just stood there. I'm like, okay, and she kind of threw herself on me and she's hugging me. And for the first time in ever, my grandmother actually apologized. And this woman never apologized to anybody ever. And I got an apology from her. And
big deal, right?
Huge deal.
Yeah.
And the thing is, she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And please forgive me. And I said, it's fine. But it was one of those things where it was just more word, like more of my words than actual feeling. Yeah. Because it was like, it's fine, but you still did it. And this isn't going to be the end of it. I knew it wasn't. You know what I mean? In her defense, she stuck to her word and she didn't, she would actually make me scarves and she would make me dresses. And so I can appreciate that. But, for quite some time, I had to deal with a lot of backlash from my family. I remember once they had a celebration or something and I got ready to go with them. And I think it might have been some kid's birthday party or something. I don't remember what it was. But somebody straight up in my family was like, what are you getting ready? Like, what are you doing down here already? And I was like, I'm ready to go. They were like, oh, we don't want you there. You're not invited. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants you around. And I remember thinking really, really messed up and very painful. But typical me, I just said, oh, all right, then that's fine. And I walked off like it didn't bother me.
Yep.
I just hated everything.
Because it'll bother you, but they don't need to know that. They don't know. They're never going to know that.
I refused to let them see it. I said, oh, all right, then. That's better for me. I can go get comfortable. And I just left. There was I cried a lot. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of loneliness. There was just a lot of pain. I'm sorry. It was just thinking a lot about these things kind of get to you a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's kind of a given, right?
Yeah. There was a lot of name calling, a lot of just doing things to be cruel. Like there was a garage sale and I had my old childhood toys and I had them all saved, I don't know, maybe for when I ever had a kid or they were but they were my property, my things. And they went ahead and took them out of the boxes where I had them separate in the attic and they sold all my things and then kept the money.
Which is extremely cruel.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
And they were all my childhood things that my grandmother, like dolls that were my
very,
favorites.
very cruel. Not cool at all.
Then there was another time that there was a friend of the family, but like distant, I guess, through marriage.
Yeah.
And she was having some Christmas Eve party. Now, you got to understand, I was Muslim, 2 months?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe at this point?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go. But the lady had said, please tell her to come. I made chicken specifically for her because, pernil, like that's the pork shoulder.
Yeah.
That's huge in Puerto Rico. So that's what they were having. But she had literally made a small chicken. She had roasted it specifically for me.
Yeah.
So I felt bad because this woman had made an effort that nobody really in my family had made.
Yep.
But, besides my grandmother after she came around. Like, I can't take that away from her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I went, and my uncle, the one who kind of just left, to follow his truth.
Mm-hmm. His truth.
There was alcohol there, and he offered me a drink. I said, I don't drink. I don't do that anymore. And they were like, oh, come on, just a little sip. And I was like, no, I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah.
So he takes his finger and dips it in his cup.
Mm-hmm.
And then takes that same finger and wipes his alcohol into like the side of my mouth, like where your lips meet, like in that little cheek.
Yeah.
And wipes it all in there. There are so many problems with that.
Yeah.
In front of everybody.
Way too many problems.
In front of everybody. And I was
whenever we go through all this stuff, it pisses me off so much.
Yeah, I see that.
It really does.
I could see that. You're very tense.
I'm just keeping an even tone.
Yeah.
And messing with the mic levels as we go.
Yeah. So, and I was supposed to laugh that off.
Yep.
You know, and it was little things like that. You know, it was always the jabs. And eventually they, I guess, got over it. I didn't budge. I didn't take off my hijab. I didn't stop believing in the faith I had found. And then,
because they all thought it was just a phase.
They did. And then I ended up marrying the one who introduced me to all of this. And that became an issue for some family members. But by this point, it was just like, whatever you're going to say is not going to matter.
Yeah.
It's not a phase, and I'm moving forward with my life.
I mean, I think till this day, they think if we ever gotten divorced, you're just going to rip your scarf off and have a tequila or a roncaña or whatever.
Yeah. Not really tequila, but more like a roncaña.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Puerto Ricans drink tequila too, though.
They do, but that's not our national kind of thing. Anyway, so...
I have a nice big chunk of pernil.
Right. And it was all these things like that. And I'm not even going through all of it because it's just so exhausting to have to relive all of that. I ended up having an aunt who did not show up to the wedding. Mm-hmm. And who made this huge drama about it. And it was just a lot. Actually, I had a couple aunts who didn't go to the wedding now that I think about it. And one of them was my first, my aunt, my mom's sister. And then the other one was my grandmother's sister. And my grandmother was really, really upset about that one because that was really, you know how that is.
Yeah.
That was really offensive.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And so that was it. She was like, you don't come to her wedding, I'm never going to any of your weddings. So that was it. She meant it. And she never went back to any of their events. You know how that goes. Our cultures are so similar, subhanAllah.
Yeah.
Mine and yours. So that was a disrespect. And she wasn't going to tolerate disrespect.
Disrespect like that, especially. No, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
And like I said, after she threw her initial fit, like I was like my grandma's favorite. And she loved me a lot in her own very broken ways, but she did, and she loved me a lot. And so, when she threw her fit and she realized I wasn't going to budge, and she always knew the person I was. Once I said something, that's it. I'm not going to, if I say it, it's because I mean it.
Yeah.
And not in terms of like anger or anything like that. But if I make a decision, I don't make decisions lightly. It takes me a long time to make decisions.
You don't make rash decisions.
No, I don't. I really try not to. I try to think everything over. And so when I make a decision, it's because I really feel it.
Yeah.
And I believe in this, and I've researched, and I think this is the correct thing to do. She was, she became a really big defendant of mine, and she made my wedding dress, and she did all the decorations for the wedding. And you know what I mean? So she came around. Years later, now we're fast forward. I don't know. That's pretty much it for the conversion story. I finally took my shahada. I got married. My grandma was like, I'm not taking disrespect. You don't go to my daughter's wedding.
You're done, son.
You're done?
You're done. Take a walk.
Years later, now we're fast forwarding to about 2 years ago, right? Right before the pandemic.
Right before COVID.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my grandmother I skipped a bit because she got diagnosed with cancer when my second child was born, literally right at the same time. He turned a month old and she got the diagnosis. And that was really hard. And I relied heavily on Allah for that. And it was very complicated because, again, I love her so much, but there was so much abuse. But I love her. And I'm grateful that Allah had her raise me for...
Very complicated relationship.
For better, for worse. She's what I had. And I'm grateful to Allah for that. And she survived that. And, but it came back 5 years later. And she kept fighting it. And she only lasted about another year and a half. And that's when we were kind of getting here. And I went and I surprised her... from Texas, I went back to New Jersey, and she had no idea. She was staying with my aunt, and I could tell that there wasn't much left for her.
Yeah.
And
this was 2020.
Yeah. January.
Yep.
We went and surprised her, and surprised your parents too, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Your dad was on the way to his shoulder was hurting, remember? Mm-hmm. And then he was like, "No, that couldn't get looked at." And he just came back home.
Because I went to the house, I was like, "Where the hell's everybody at?"
Yeah. So they came back, and it was nice seeing them, and. Then the next day I went and surprised my grandmother, and I showed up at my aunt's house. My aunt knew I was coming. I had already told her. And we get there and she hears Noah. And in her head, she's like, that's it. I lost it. I have officially lost it. Mm-hmm. This is like, this is one of my hallucinations. Like I lost it.
I am absolutely insane.
Right. She was like, that's it. I broke. Mm-hmm. And so she comes out from the little family room because she's like, she keeps hearing Noah. And like the kids are laughing and stuff. And she's like, okay, no, this is bad. Like if this is a delusion of mine again, like this one's bad. Mm-hmm. So,
this is a delusion to a whole nother level.
Right. So she comes out and she sees me standing in the doorway, and she's standing there silently. Like she literally, it was like almost a whole minute, and it was getting to the point where like things are awkward. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, is she upset? Like, because I couldn't tell.
Because you don't know. She's crazy.
Right. I was like, mom is mom. So is she mad? Like, so I was like, sorpresa. I was like, surprise. And then she like threw herself at me. She goes, oh my God, you're real. I'm not imagining you. I started cracking up. I was
Sorpresa.
Right. I was like, of course I'm real. And she was like, no, because I couldn't tell she was like, that's it. I lost it. Because I wasn't saying anything, I guess. And I was just standing there. And she was like, that's it, I lost it. But she was very happy to see me. And subhanAllah, she kept hugging me. And I sat with her and watched TV with her. I spent a lot of time with her. And pretty much that entire vacation, I went to see her every day. And I spent as much time as I could with her. And it was quite a bit of it, actually. I didn't see anybody else, really. And then at one point she told me, she was like, and I could die a happy woman now because I saw your face. I saw you. And that's all I've wanted. She hadn't seen me in a couple years because she had moved out to Puerto Rico a few years prior, right around the same time that we had moved out to Texas. She hadn't seen me in a few years. And then that was in January. And then she passed away mid-March, literally as the pandemic was hitting. And they were literally locking the world down.
We were in Morocco.
And we were in Morocco on a second honeymoon. So that was our second honeymoon. Woohoo!
That was our second honeymoon. COVID happened. Her grandmother died.
Yeah. It was insane.
Wow.
It was insane.
Did that stop us from having fun?
No, it didn't.
And
I know it's going to sound kind of crazy and some people might think it's cruel, but I'm glad that she passed away when I was in Morocco because it gave me a distraction. And I didn't have to think as much on it. And I didn't have to, it was just so complicated and I didn't have to focus on any of the necessarily deep feelings of it because I wasn't home. And I had a few days before I had to face everything. And then on the way home, I didn't, when we landed, they went and took pictures of us with the travel, like the customs or whatever, like, because you weren't allowed to travel.
Yeah.
That was it. Like, there was proof that we had just traveled. And so if I tried to go out.
You can't go nowhere.
No, I would have gotten in trouble.
So you weren't able to go to New Jersey for all the services.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't able to do any of that. And I don't know how I feel about that. To this day, sometimes I'm glad. Sometimes it hurts. But she didn't die as a Muslim, and it's just so complicated.
So what are you going to do, right, at that point?
There's nothing I can do about it. The grieving process has been heavily reliant on Allah. I don't function without relying on Allah, you know what I mean? Like, it's just because there's days that are great, and then there's days that are harder than others till this day. Some days I wish I didn't love her as much as I do. Some days I'm grateful. Some, that I do have, that we were close.
Some days you're furious.
Some days I'm furious. Some days I'm angry. And some days I'm really sad. Yesterday, actually, was it yesterday? No, recently. I can't remember exactly what day it was. But recently, when, she just kind of pops in my head and we're just, kind of missed her. You know what I mean? Little things will remind me of her. I remember on our honeymoon, I started crying over the Danishes because she likes sweets. Little things like that. But all of these things, I know that happened way after I took my Shahada, but it goes back all the way to it. From the moment I think like I said, Allah had been priming me my entire life to get to that point of embracing Islam. And it always goes back to Islam. Everything for me is focused on Allah. Everything for me is central, from all the very crazy experiences that I've had. All the difficulties have led me to the path of Allah. And I'm very grateful for that.
So right now we got about, I don't know, like 15, 20 minutes to hit our mark, right? So I want you to take some time to talk about your experience with the Muslim community, after you became a Muslim, with your guide dog.
Got it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I have to say that
I think this is very important.
The sad truth is that when I was Catholic, I actually had, my God, this chair is creaking a lot.
Bro, it's all right, bro.
Sorry about that, guys.
Deal with it, listeners.
Sorry.
This episode may be all over the place.
Yeah. So it's crazy because I'm not even trying to move or anything. It's just
it just
creaking.
Creaks. Yeah. This is the life of the cottage.
Yeah.
It's the cottage life, baby.
Here we go.
Gotta live that cottage life.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. All right. Anyway.
You had to get it in, didn't you?
I didn't get a Simpsons reference in yet.
No.
Damn, I don't know where to put it in. This is not good. Okay. Keep going. I'm gonna find a place. I'm gonna do it.
Okay. So I had, growing up, a very supportive community as a Catholic.
Yeah.
I did not feel excluded. I did not feel like I wasn't welcomed. I was treated just like any other parishioner, any other church member.
Person who came to church.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I embraced Islam, it was a total opposite. There was this sense of even if they didn't see me with my guide dog, the sense of being treated with pity or being treated like the next good deed to accrue in your account of deeds or a charity case. And it was demeaning and it was hurtful and it was lonely because I wasn't used to that type of treatment.
Yeah.
In a religious.
And I mean, this right here is just the same struggle that most converts go through.
Yeah. And then add in the blind factor.
Add in the blind factor.
And then I bring in the guide dog.
Right. Another bag of problems.
It gets escalated to a whole nother level. And then I bring in a guide dog. And then it's like, oh, no, sister, you can't bring that here. You can't come here. Or if you want to come, that's fine. Just tie your dog outside. You're essentially asking me to leave my eyes outside.
Yeah.
Would you tell someone in a wheelchair to leave their wheelchair outside and then say, well, I'll just carry you?
Exactly.
Would you do that?
Exactly.
No, you wouldn't. And even if you tell me, that's fine, we'll just put the dog in another room. Okay, but you're still telling me how to manage my disability. And even if
something you've never lived through.
Right. And even if it isn't the blind person who's like, no, it's fine because I don't need it. Well, you don't.
There's a lot of blind people. They're like, oh, well, I don't see what a big deal. It's like, because number one, you don't need it for yourself. You don't need it. That's not a part of your independence. You, in reality, a lot of blind people, especially Muslim blind people, use sighted guide. Like they use a sighted person to guide them around. That's not independence, bro.
It's not.
It's not. Okay, I'm not hating on you for it, but that's not independence. Yeah, right. A lot of people use their cane, and if they can manage with the cane, great. You know, whatever. But like me, for example, I'm partially sighted. I have some sight, and I use my cane, and I have trouble.
Right.
So don't tell me, oh, it's easy. No, it's not easy, bro.
And the thing is, even if it is easy for you.
And I wasn't sold on the guide dog.
Right.
Until I saw it in action. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was a bike.
I get it.
It was a bike on the floor. And you were expecting me fully to trip over that bike. And I went around it and you just said, wow. And I was like, what? Because I had no idea the bike was on the floor. That was the part that blew his mind. Is that I thought my dog, I figured there was an obstacle because I'm not, that oblivious. But I knew there was an obstacle because she went around and then got back on the curb and went around. But I didn't know what it was. I was just like, oh, all right, whatever. It's just, she's doing her job. And you were just floored because it was a bike just laid on the middle of the floor. It wasn't planted. It wasn't planned. It just happened to really work out in that way that Allah just showed you what she was capable of doing. And then from then on in, you were just sold. And you've seen these dogs in action, how they work in crowds, on trains, in buses, in the airports,
in New York City, subways, in the middle of Manhattan. Yadira will walk down the busy streets, like the busy sidewalk, not hit one person.
Nope,
it's insane. It's insane. And the thing is, as Muslims, like we have this hang up about dogs, right? We have, let me take it over a bit, wife, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely.
For those who aren't ignorant, right? For those who aren't ignorant, which unfortunately the majority of the Muslim community is very ignorant, because they just go off of one hadith, right? And that's all they stick with is one hadith. They don't look at and these people are people like with madhabs, and they do all these different things that their madhab does, but they don't ever look any deeper than anything other than what they're taught growing up. So it's more cultural than anything else, right? Just being led by the nose.
Almost like a lack of knowledge on Islam.
100%. So what they'll do is they're like, oh, you can't have a dog. All right. And then you'll ask them why. And they'll give you the hadith about, oh, if the dog licks, they'll say if the dog licks you, you have to wash your hands 7 times, once with earth. That's not correct. The hadith is talking about a dish, a bowl, something that you eat from. And if you want to eat from that, you have to wash it 7 times, once with earth. And that was before we discovered antiseptic soap and antibacterial soap. I guess it's antibacterial, not antiseptic. Is antiseptic soap a real thing?
I don't think it matters.
Probably. Anyway, that's before
just
we
soap
invented
in general,
this. And
really.
then, hold on. And then people would say, oh, well, that's not the sunnah. I was like, okay, yahi, don't drive a car, ride a camel.
Right.
Boom. There you go. You're dismissed with that. Then they'll, for those who say, oh, you shouldn't have dogs in this masjid, there are too many problems with that. Too many problems, and I may take a longer episode to just go through all those problems and how you guys justify everything under the sun to be in the masjid except for a blind sister with a guide dog or a blind brother with a guide dog. But just to kind of, like cap the bottle on this and just show you, there is a clear hadith. This is from Abdullah ibn Umar. right? Radiallahu anhu. Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab, radiallahu anhuma. And he said, I recall when dogs would come in and out of the masjid and they would urinate and no one would even sprinkle water over it. So there's a couple of things we need to take this from. Number one, what masjid is this? This is the Prophet's masjid, Masjid al-Nabawi, right? The second holiest site in our deen, right? You go pray there, you get your salah is equivalent to 1,000. It's times 1,000. Right. Number two, the dog will literally urinate in the masjid and nobody sprinkled water over it. When the man came into the masjid and urinated in the masjid, they sprinkled water over it. They did. When the dog came and urinated in the masjid, they didn't sprinkle water over it. And these are wild dogs. So they're in there. They may have rabies. They may have some other diseases. They're licking everything. This is not a dog that is...
possibly barking and making noises. Exactly. Because these are not trained animals.
Exactly. This is not a dog that has been trained, that is worth thousands of dollars, that is an elite animal, right?
Right.
The elite of service animals is a guide dog.
That is the cream of the crop.
Right? When you get a guide dog. Specifically, a seeing eye dog from the school that Yadira got it from. So Muslims, please, okay? Take your culture, take a walk. Okay, I love you guys for the sake of Allah.
I think educate
please
yourselves.
Just do some research, right?
Really
and like I said, we will go into a further episode of this. But I mean, come on, guys. Like, come on. Like, let's be real here. But Yadira, continue, please. Like, talk about other incidences, even not going into masajid.
So, conventions where you have people literally jumping on their tables in these Muslim conventions. And these are full conventions. Like, think about thousands of people watching you jump on a table because a sister's walking by with her guide dog, who, by the way, is not paying you 1 ounce of attention, because this dog is literally focused on keeping me safe, on keeping the handler safe and alive and well and getting from point A to point B. That's literally all it's doing. Dusting their hands off because the dog happened to, their hair grazed, her hair grazed them, or her nose happened to graze by them.
And just to be clear here, I'm not mentioning things that are like, I'm not trying to reinterpret things. Go through the 1,000 years of jurisprudence we have in Islam. It's there in black and white. Yes, some madhahib have a stricter set, but not one of them will say that this dog is haram. Not one of them will say that this dog is not allowed in a masjid based on the evidence that I've showed with you. They may differ on the najasa of the dog, like the dirtiness or the impurity of the dog. What is that? Whether it be the hair or the saliva or none at all. Do your research. Step your game up. Stop being an ignorant Muslim. Okay, we have a beautiful deen. Learn your deen, and you will appreciate it more. Trust me.
Taking the kids to family events and getting that same.
I'm going a little ham here.
You are, and I appreciate that support because I haven't really gotten it from many in the community. Now,
alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, I have had some, especially in recent years, who have been more supportive of it and more open to learn, more willing to learn. But it's far from the majority. It's more the exception.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to change. Think about it. There was so much support within that Catholic community, and then we come to Islam here, and I mean, look, why was Islam by touch founded? When you think about that.
Yeah, I think that's a whole nother episode.
Because there was nothing.
Right?
So that's a whole different episode. Yeah. But there was nothing, and there was no lack of. There was a lack of community. There was no support. There was a huge lack of support. There was no community. There's no resources. There's no acceptance and inclusion. For those of us who have guide dogs. And anytime that we tell them, okay, this is what we want to do and this is how we manage with disability, it's no, you have to think of the greater good of the community.
You have to think about the community. It's all about the community, right? It's all about the community. But whenever, people need to get vaccinacclimated. I'm not even trying to get into a vax conversation, but come on, guys.
Don't do it.
Stop being hypocrites, all right?
Don't do it.
Stop being a hypocrite, bro.
But you got to think of the community, and you have to think of the greater good, and you have to understand that you're just one person. Mm-hmm. And if you're just one person, why would anyone think that your needs are need to be weighed more than the overall community? And I think it's such a cop out to think that way.
Just read Surah Abasa, bro. Read the first 11, 12 ayat, and then Muslims, come talk to me.
Right, and then have Muslims straight tell you to your face.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, oh. Well, then why am I bothering? Why should I even try? You know what? And especially as a woman, I don't have to engage in this community. I'll just stay home.
Yep.
And then that's, well, now you're being extreme. I'm not, because I'm not wanted, or I'm only wanted in the way that best fits your mold.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And
your cultural mold, not your Islamic mold, because I'll fit the Islamic mold.
I'll fit the Islamic. And that's the thing. I was literally getting to that point. It's not like I'm trying to make you accept something haram.
Exactly. Which a lot of times you bring a whole bunch of haram stuff to the masjid and be like, oh, look at this. This is amazing. Look at this. This is amazing. Right. Come on, guys.
And the thing is,
we have to work together. We have to do allyship.
Sometimes you feel, especially when you have your guide dogs, or you feel, I've heard from other blind Muslims, they don't feel welcomed in the community. They want to talk to anyone in the community and ask questions. Anyone, like, I don't know, the imam or something like that, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And they have no access because, they just don't see the point of,
because of the ignorance.
Right.
Challenge me, please. Somebody challenge me. Somebody. If you have more proof, listen, hold on. I got to stop here. I got to take this over. I'm sorry, wife. I'm cutting you off. All right. I'm cutting you off. If somebody can evidence me out here, please provide it.
Well, the thing is, Ned,
please.
I have talked about this.
We have done extensive research and evidence, spoken to mashayikh all over the world about this. Like, just please, Muslims, please stop being ignorant. I love you so much. Just please.
I have shared my conversion story, my convert story on other platforms. And at some point, the guide dog thing does always come up. And subhanAllah, every time I've shared the story, the people that I've shared it to actually have some knowledge on this, and they are appalled. And they are literally telling me a lot more education has to be done on this issue. And a lot of people have to be more educated on, issues like jurisprudence and things like that.
Because of course.
Too many people don't know enough, but they're going out there.
And right now, especially in the time we live in, you can't just be that, I'm going to follow what I learned from my parents, Muslim, because you will fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
You will. They will take you away from this deen so quick.
I think what I've learned is that when I, comparing from being a Muslim, it's about half my life.
I mean, alhamdulillah, like this experience you've had with the Muslim community did not pull you away from Islam.
No, alhamdulillah, I did not.
And, we need to give credit to where credit's due. Let's talk about the community that did show you a lot of love, and then inshallah we can wrap it up today.
Yeah, subhanallah. And this is years later because, this is, I'm already in Texas. I already got 4 kids, and we are close to pandemic time. And I found this community called Embrace, and it's a project of ICNA. And I have,
It's a project, what?
ICNA.
Got it. I'm sorry, you kind of went fast there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought you said it's a project of fitna. I was like, what? I was like, no.
Of ICNA.
This is not fitna. No, what?
You have been misunderstanding me all day today. What is up with you?
I don't know, man. You got to speak up a little clearer. All right, maybe I got to get my ears checked or something.
Maybe. I don't know. You did miss the big old hole on your camera.
Hold on. It's a little quiet. I better say something. Takes one to know one. Yeah. Got one.
You got your senses.
Let's go. Yo, listen, we're going to do a tally of these. If you can give me the episode that these references come from, I will send you an Islam by Touch t-shirt or something. Eventually. Right? I'm not doing a contest yet, but it's going to be like 30, 40 episodes in. Then you got to name them all for me.
Okay. Anyway, so Embrace, a project of ICNA, has been absolutely wonderful, and they're very supportive. And I got to go, and we did what's it called? We
sat with them in the halaqah. Yeah, we had a halaqah.
We were discussing
brothers
stuff
in front, sisters in the back. It was a small room, but alhamdulillah, everything was legit. We had lunch. I think it was like a dinner.
It was like a...
Was it during Ramadan?
No, it was just like a potluck.
During Ramadan. Yeah, it was like a potluck thing.
Yeah, and they just brought food and we ate. And then after everything, we got to pray. And that was the first time as a Muslim, we're talking years in, that I was able to pray in congregation at the end of the line with my dog literally laying right on the floor. I was still holding her leash the way that I'm supposed to, not separated from her. She was laying like on a little towel because she sheds and whatnot.
Yeah. Which is understandable.
Which I have no problem with that, because if somebody asks, I'll bring a blanket.
Let's be real. When non-Muslims want to come to the masjid and you're like, no, you don't got to take off your shoes.
Yeah, right.
Unbelievable.
So we have to point that out.
Unbelievable.
But I have no problem. I'll bring a blanket. But
Muslims, I love you. I don't want you to think I hate my community. I love my community, but we really got to fix this.
You know what it is? We got to do better. That's all it is.
And this is years of pent up frustration.
May
Allah forgive us all.
I mean, I think ideally I wouldn't have to be separate
with
from my
my
dog.
creaky chair.
Right. Ideally, I wouldn't have to be separated from my dog because that's separating me from my eyes. But the thing is,
we even came up with a compromise.
But this is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Ideally, I wouldn't have to do that because this is a highly trained dog. Let me tell you something, and it's a quote from my father-in-law. We went to a restaurant on my birthday.
This was a non-Muslim owned restaurant.
Yes, non-Muslim. And they were giving me a hard time, and they did not want to seat us. And we ended up calling the police and everything because
the police had to enforce it.
Yeah. And we got seated.
And of course, as soon as the police came, it's like, no, that's not what I meant.
Right.
I was worried about this or that.
Right. I was worried about her safety. And the police was like, what safety? What safety?
Exactly. Yeah. Get it.
You can't deny her service.
Yep.
But prior to him, the cops getting there and everything, my father-in-law was like, are you kidding me? Except he didn't use such a nice word. Mm-hmm. He's like, this dog, you don't want her to come and sit in this dog. This dog behaves better than more people than I know.
Abu Nadir went Abu Nadir on them.
He's like, this dog behaves better than more people than I know.
We gotta talk. Yeah, this happened in the middle of the Islam by Touch story.
Yeah, but
the beginning of the Islam by Touch story.
For my father-in-law, a man who comes from overseas, right, from Palestine, who's an immigrant here, and for him to say this, a Muslim who's literally defending my guide dog, being there with me, and getting upset for me, taking it personally.
Yeah,
and literally saying this dog behaves better than more people that I know. And that is profound because the truth is, I would say 90% of the time at like restaurants and things like that, if there's tables, nobody knows I have a dog until I get up and then I'm leaving. And people audibly say, oh my God, where did that dog come from?
Oh my God,
a dog
there's
here?
A dog here? Yeah, that happens so much.
All the time.
Yeah.
Because unless I make you aware or, obviously if there's not a table, you will even forget the dog is there. They don't make a noise. They don't move. They're trained. Mm-hmm. So ideally, I wouldn't have to be separated from my dog. But at best, the best compromise that I would be willing to go is to put a crate in the, where you're praying, in the musalla, in the area you're praying. And then I could sit next to my dog and I wouldn't have to leave my dog.
But
I won't compromise beyond that.
You put a cane on there. You find your line to pray.
Right.
And that's it.
And that, but
which is fine.
For me personally, I will not do sighted guide unless I choose to, that it's not going to be forced on
unless
me.
I straight up ask you, sister or brother, can you please show me where the line is?
Otherwise, nope. I will not tell you, I will not let you put my dog in another room. It's just not something. And the thing is,
it's not about not being reasonable. Like, okay, boom, I'm sitting next to my dog and the adhan's being called. And listen, I'm like, hey, can somebody just show me where the line is?
Right.
Like, why is this? It's not like I'm being difficult to be difficult.
Right.
But it seems like the Muslim community is being difficult to be difficult.
Because unless we manage the disability in the best way that makes them feel comfortable, as long as they're comfortable with our disability and how we manage it, then that's okay.
We'll talk about that in a later episode.
That's a whole different episode.
The two ways blind people are viewed within
and even
in general.
Putting the guide dog aside, you know what I mean? This is a whole big issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But subhanAllah, I came here for Allah. And inshallah, Allah will keep me tethered to his rope and keep me tethered to him. Ameen. Mm-hmm. And, my goal here is to be the best Muslim I could be, to be the best mother and wife I could be, and to serve my community as best as I can for the sake of Allah. And inshallah, my intentions are pure. And you know what I mean? That's I think all the hardships I faced and everything I had to deal with taught me that.
Yadira punches her mic stand or something.
No, I'm telling you, I didn't even touch the mic stand. I hit the bottom of the table.
The bottom of the table, and it just went boom.
Yeah. This whole podcast, this episode's a mess. My chair keeps creaking.
This
for
is
some
great
reason.
though. No, we're gonna keep this one.
Okay.
We're gonna keep this one.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
I think
I gotta send this one to actually get like mixed down.
Yeah.
But like, bro, like, yo, mix this down.
Because
whatever.
Look, your chair just creaked again.
I'm just sitting still too.
I know.
Whatever, guys. You get, listen, we're doing the best we can. At least we're not at least you're not hearing the echo from the room like, jobbers who do podcasts.
Anyway.
Do you know what a jobber is?
No, creaky chair.
A jobber is the dude in wrestling that always loses.
I knew that, and I didn't want to say it, okay?
Yeah.
Because I hate that you got me knowing wrestling.
Let's
things.
go.
I knew it. I knew what that was.
All right, wife.
But you know what I was saying? Alhamdulillah, I think all the hardships, Allah had been priming me for this moment to embrace my deen, to embrace Islam. I didn't have that wow moment, but subhanAllah, over time, I think it's been even better because every time something stressful happens, something that's a hardship happens, I appreciate it more. Every time a blessing comes along the way, I appreciate it more. And my favorite, with hardship comes ease. Surely with hardship comes ease. that has been, in my heart with me at all times, and through the good, the bad, the indifferent, I have Islam, alhamdulillah, and that's the best gift of all,
That is the best gift at all. So we are at the end of the episode today, right?
Yep.
Dita, you got anything you want to say?
No, that's all. Alhamdulillah.
All right. So guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials at Islam by Touch. Make sure you like and share and subscribe and let people know that we're doing this podcast. We're trying to let people know about the blind experience, really, right? Like us as blind people, blind Muslims, as blind parents, as people coming from a different perspective, right?
Yeah.
So please, share this, like this, subscribe, guys, because we're going to be doing this for as long as we can talk.
We can, inshallah, yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, it is what it is. We do the best we can, right?
Yeah.
Dita, how can they follow you?
At always Yadira.
At always Yadira. She's always Yadira.
Yeah.
Always.
All right.
All right, guys. Make sure you let people know about Islam by Touch. And next time, join us so that we can take you behind the blind. See you next time, guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.